Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Reality radio for a really great future. We're talking real money.
Hello again, and welcome to another either edition of the Talking Real Money podcast or an hour of the live show. I'm Don McDonald, along with Tom Cock. Our number is 855-935-TALK, 855-935-8255, to try to help you deal with some of those nagging money things that are enough to drive you crazy, particularly when it comes to investing. And I did some checking during the break. We don't often carry conversations over from 1 hour to the next or one episode to the next, but in the last episode, a gentleman who's getting close to taking his required minimum distribution at 70 and a half was wondering about contributing to his SEP IRA. And yes, he can contribute to his SEP IRA. He can also contribute if he falls under the limits for having a retirement plan at work. He could also conceivably contribute to a Roth too, but not a traditional.
Not a traditional.
Not a traditional.
With the Roth, you do need, so both of those you would have to have income to do. You can't just take it from
You have to have earned income.
Okay, all right.
Correct.
And I mean, the SEP has some huge advantages. You can put a lot of money into a SEP IRA.
And this is really interesting, and I don't know if this is gospel, but this is something I read on the web, and take everything you read on the web with a grain of salt. But an accountant here claimed, and again, I'm not an accountant, but if you do not own more than 5% of your company,
you can still put into your 401k.
No, but you also don't have to take RMDs from your SEP or your 401k.
That's true. That I
SEP
happen to know.
SEP is included.
I didn't know the SEP, but I knew the 401k.
Yeah, SEP is included.
Yeah.
I did not know the SEP was included. I knew the 401k, but it's kind of cool. So some advantages
obscure
for you.
Rules you really don't need to know. But I'll tell you some not so obscure rules you should know, because this just came out in a survey last week.
Yeah, you told me this. I can't believe these numbers.
I gave them to our friend Paul Merriman, and he said, "What? No. Yes." Nationwide Retirement Institute did a survey of 1,300 U.S. American adults over the age of 50. I think you can safely say when somebody's 50, that's pretty much, you should be adult status by then. Not always, but pretty close.
No, I'm going to go with that. I think that if you're over 50, you're an adult.
Now, remember that I think I have this number right. It's more than half of America take Social Security before full retirement age. And about 70% of those who are getting Social Security, of the people getting Social Security before retirement age, it makes up about 70% of their income. So it's really important to get Social Security right.
That's a big
chunk
of their income.
It's a huge number. It's a huge number. And yeah, I know, Social Security, yawn. This, for most people, will be a huge part of their retirement income. So don't poo-poo this.
Mm-hmm.
And yet,
I don't poo-poo a lot of things, so I try not to poo-poo very often.
I'll come up with something else. Don't ignore this.
I won't poo-poo it either.
So the survey found 70% of people they asked thought that you can get your Social Security at age 60.
You can't.
No, well, I guess if you lied about your age or something, you could.
But, you flat out can't. No. Where do they get that?
I don't know. You can't get Social Security until age 62.
The earliest you can take Social Security is 62.
Okay, but here's where it gets worse. A quarter of the people thought that you can take it at age 60, and then at 63, which they believe to be their full retirement age, that you get an increase.
Well, no.
Why would the government do that?
I know what they're doing. I know what they're doing. They're taking information and not, like most people, they're kind of glossing over it. They're not, for example, if I am on, and this is something you should all do. Everyone should do this. Go to myssa.gov.
And this is not Don's, by the way. It's the government's.
No, I'm going to talk about my Social Security.
Okay,
right
but
now.
you don't need my, by the way. You can just type in ssa.gov.
SSA.gov.
Yeah.
But it's the My Social Security website. Yep. And here is an example.
But
okay,
everybody, what you're starting to say is everybody should have an account there. Every person should, for the following reason. People have been defrauded. They didn't have an account, and checks were sent to some guy in Toledo in your name that he was cashing. It's happened. You should all set up so they know that it's you. You know the benefit, etc. But go ahead.
And then they send you. They send you the longest code.
Yeah.
It's how many? It's an 8-digit code you have to enter in to get into the thing. But
anyway,
so I went into mine just to give you all an example. The earliest that you can take Social Security is 62.
What is your full retirement age?
66 and 4 months.
Yeah, see,
I think
I'm
you're 66
so much
and
younger
7.
than you. Yeah, I'm 66 and 7 because I'm so
I
many
think you're
years younger.
Yeah.
So many.
So many months younger. So here's the deal. If I took my Social Security at 62, right now, I would get $2,075 a month.
Yeah, it's not a lot of money.
I would get that for the rest of my life.
With a small amount of cost of living increase.
With only COLA adjustments.
Yeah, which is
if I take it at 2%. If I take it at full retirement, it's $2,700.
What about 70?
But if I take it at 70, it's $3,700.
And you get that the rest of your life. And your spouse could get that or her own benefit. So things to think about. Yep.
Plus, your spouse is going to get a lot more money. And your spouse, of course, if you're a man, is going to live longer than you.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
Do you know what your investment risk tolerance is? Take our free no-obligation risk quiz at talkingrealmoney.com.
For your real life and real future, Tom and Don are talking real money.
Go to ssa.gov and set up your account.
Yeah,
Do it.
You should.
Do it now.
Number 1, to prevent fraud. Number 2, to see what your benefit is likely to be. Number 3, to make sure your employer is paying into the system. Because that's happened too.
You can actually go in and look.
I jokingly said that at the class this morning. I said I wanted to check to make sure my employer is paying mine into the system. Oh, that's right. I'm self-employed.
Was your employer doing it?
Yeah. Everything's been going in. The 941 taxes. Those are ones you want to pay.
Yeah, I'm looking at mine here. Let's see. You guys paid. Thank you.
There you go. How about that, huh? And the nice little 7.62% match we made for you there.
The last time I had a zero in my Social Security was in 1974.
Wow.
The year I graduated high school.
I think the last zero, mine's right around the same time because I made some money when I was in high school.
In 1971, I paid $44 into Social Security.
What was your gross income?
It doesn't say.
Oh, it doesn't? Oh, I thought it
just says tax Social Security earnings.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, that was my earnings. $44. Okay, that was my taxed earnings.
Oh, you're rolling the real money, man.
71. How? Oh, I was 15.
Yeah, I made something like no, because I was a camp counselor, so I made more than that. Anyway, So yeah, you should set. I mean, if you're listening, you really should set that up.
And I hit my mic. Sorry about that.
Okay, so
855-935-TALK is the phone number here. You get a copy of Financial Physics just for calling in and asking a question on the air. We'll send it to you.
We've had everything from questions around Vanguard's Total World Stock Index to the impact of the tariff to the whether or not you can contribute to an IRA and a SEP IRA. So.
And to the Talking Real Money on the Road tour this coming year.
You're not
doing classes.
Are you really going to go to Philly? Come on. That's
I'll go
pretty
to
much northbound. I mean, you're not. That wouldn't be heading west very much. So.
See, I have enough time. I can zig and zag a little.
Okay, all right, okay.
So no, if 10 people in Philly get together,
Carl's going to do it. I think he's going to pull it together
and sets up the and I have the cheesesteak that you so
you like
adeptly
my negotiating there.
Negotiated for me, getting me a cheesesteak.
I know, and I'm hoping it's not
thank you.
prepared and waiting for you at this point. I hope they do it something closer to your appearance.
Maybe fresh. Fresh would be better.
Nicer. Yeah, a little nicer.
Fresher is better.
Yeah.
855-935-TALK, 855-935-8255. Give us a call. And, one other thing you should do, if you have a child who is, of course, younger than you.
Generally the case, yes.
Play on Snapchat with them.
Yeah, I love your kitty cat one.
I played today with my daughter. She was sitting with us. She's 25, and we're sitting in the living room, and she's turning herself into a boy, a male, a man. And when she does it, she looks like her brother. It was like, whoa.
That's scary.
Whoa.
I
And then
like
she
the
turned,
one. Oh, no, you were the rabbit, not the kitty cat. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Well, no, I did a rabbit and a kitty cat.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. That's right. I didn't do the kitty cat.
So what
one.
I
ran out of
did is
time.
I turned myself into a cat, and then I turned myself into a dancing rabbit and sent it to my grandkids. They loved it.
Yeah.
It's like the singing, dancing. Grandpa's
Well,
a singing,
and-
dancing rabbit?
I'm thinking I'm going
It
to
was
turn you
fun.
into a newt and send that to the staff. How'd that be?
He turned me into a newt.
Exactly.
Hey, Monty Python.
How you feeling?
855-935-TALK's our phone number,
You got better.
855-935-8255.
Oh, I want to make a quick program note, too. Next Saturday is Armed Forces Day. We will be putting up a list of things online for those of you who are active duty members of our services, which we appreciate. We are going to put up a list of the 5 things we think you should pay attention to if you're in the military, the financial things.
Okay.
Okay. Do we get time
I'll be
for a
putting
call
that
here?
up online. Yeah.
Okay, let's go to it.
Yeah, we don't have a break for a while.
All right. Paul is up and joins us here on Talking Real Money. Hi, Paul.
Hi. I have a question that a lot of people ask me, and I don't know how to answer it either. We have 2 choices where we work of a 401k Roth and a regular one, and I don't know how. Would you convert to over one if you're older? Would you, if you were younger, would you start out with one or the other?
What's your tax bracket today? What was it in 2018? Or give
I'd
me your
say
income
about,
roughly in 2018.
I'd say about 60,000. But some of the newer people that start out are making probably half that.
Well, I think,
Yeah.
I mean, so this is
They're Roth candidates.
Yeah, and
to
here's
me.
the judgment on Roth versus. So you understand Roth is post-tax. So you're
Yes.
going to pay the tax. It's going to go in the Roth. Then it's going to grow tax-free. Conversely, the regular 401k, for lack of a better expression, is not taxed. It goes in there, it grows, money comes out, and you pay tax on it. What you're really making a bet is on what your tax rate will be after retirement. That's the bet you're making. When you're young, I think it's a no-brainer because you've got all those years of tax-free growth ahead of you. How old are you, Paul?
I'm 61,
You born in 1958?
57.
Okay, we're pretty close. Anyway, I think the challenge that you face a bit. How many more years are you going to work?
Oh, probably maybe 3, 4, something like that.
Okay.
I'm actually calling more because I know that any money that grows in a Roth is never taxed again.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean,
That's
if you're getting advice for the younger people in your office, absolutely, I would say they should bite down hard, pay the tax on the money that's going in there, as they will as income, and put it in the Roth and let it grow. I think for you, it's a little more gray.
If they're earning $30,000 a year,
Right.
they're not paying much of anything in
No.
taxes. That deduction is going to make them a couple of bucks. It's really
Right.
almost worthless. But that tax-free growth could be worth tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars in additional money when they retire.
And if you're feeling jealous, you could do some of both for you. You could do some regular 401k and some Roth 401k. Give you a bit of a tax split.
Yeah, I've done that. For years, I used the regular one, and now I've gone into the Roth part. But is it always 20% tax with the regular one?
No, it depends on whatever your rate is in retirement.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was always 20%.
Nope.
It could be
Really?
So if
next to nothing.
it's when you take the money out, whatever your tax rate is at that point, they're going to you have to pay the tax on that as regular earnings, like it's your job.
Oh, I thought it was 20, and then if you took it out before 59 and a half, it was 30.
Well, if you take it out,
No, you get a 10% penalty.
You get a
yes.
10% penalty. You take it out before 59 and a half. That's a different matter.
What's the minimum they're going to tax you? 20%?
No.
Could be
Zero.
5.
Right.
Could be 0.
Yeah.
Could be 1.
Depends on your tax situation in retirement.
Really? So I'm talking about a regular one now.
Yes,
Yep.
right.
We're talking about a regular one.
Pre-tax qualified money.
I thought it was always 20%.
No. Well, you can send that if you want because apparently the Treasury needs your help.
No.
No, okay. All right. I was going to say you can
Thanks.
help. But no. Mm-mm.
In fact,
Okay.
let me just pull up the latest brackets
Yeah,
here.
we have those somewhere. I mean, it's
You're married.
60,000.
Excuse me. The lowest tax rate in the United States right now is 10%.
I
So
guess
you're
at that
gonna
rate, at
that.
the 60,
Okay.
it would be you'd be somewhere around there. And in retirement, it's going to be less than that, so it's going to 10%.
Up
There
to
you go.
up to $38,000. This is for a single person, a single filer. It's 12%. So it's going to be, and up to $19,000, it's 10% for married filing jointly.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
Just about everything you need to know about money can be found at our website, talkingrealmoney.com.
Your guides to a really great financial future. Tom and Don are talking real money.
What? They cut you off? You're right. I can't hear you.
Now she put me back on. I thought she was trying to cut me. I was saying welcome back, and I was trying to point something out that is important. Okay?
Okay, you always
thank
do.
You. Oh, thank you.
Sure.
That's very kind.
Point it out.
I will first mention the phone number 855-935-TALK. Anything
You
money
don't
related.
have to if you don't want to.
But no, this is because what Paul raises is actually a pretty important point in retirement that people generally overlook. Generally. And that is taxation.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, if you have Roth and you have qualified like IRA, right, or 401k, and you have a taxable account like a brokerage account, where you've saved some money, etc., generally it makes sense to take whatever money you need early on from your taxable account. You're only going to pay the capital gains tax on that. And generally your income tax is at a higher rate, right? You with me?
Right.
Yeah. But
I'm with
people,
you.
they don't. We had a guy call us the other day, said, I'm going to take $200,000 out of my IRA for whatever. I said, why in the world would you do that? You get all that money over there. Don't do that. But people don't, they just think, I'm just going to pull the money from where I can get it easily. And they really should pay attention to taxation.
And that's one of the things I love about having the Roth and the regular. The regular during those high tax bracket years, a lot of people have higher earning years, gives you a little bit of a break, still gives you tax deferred growth, and that's the money. You can do some tax planning then in retirement. Leaving the Roth alone to continue to grow tax-free, if you can do it, waiting until 70 and a half to take an RMD so that you'll let the tax-deferred go as long as it can, and you can still let that Roth go way beyond that.
Correct.
You can give it to your kids.
My hope, my secret ambition is to leave that for the kids. That and the dirty garage. It's perfect.
You're a much nicer dad than I am. I'm just leaving them in the dirty garage. That's all they're getting.
I don't even want to
Hey,
go there.
kids, congratulations.
Guess
Dads want you to clean out the mess he left in the garage in the attic.
I think it should be like a one-button push where the whole thing just lights up and burns. That's my take.
Yeah, but
No,
then
I
they
think
take
one
the
of the
house.
great- I
Then
know
they
we're-
take the house with it.
We're making a joke about this, but I think legacy of minimalism as your life gets, as you advance in years, is a huge gift. Huge gift.
The problem is it's one of those gifts that's wasted on the young because now my kids, here's the problem. We were not minimalists. We were acquirers, as many baby boomers were. So we have beautiful dining room furniture and sofas and art and a piano and all of these things and Debbie jewelry. And guess what the kids don't want?
The furniture, the jewelry. Yeah, I get it. Right, yeah.
Any of it.
Yeah.
Any of it. My daughter,
she's
who lives
not a
close to
jewelry
us,
hound.
She's not an anything hound.
Yeah,
She's
that's
a
true.
minimalist.
Yeah,
My
right.
son is a minimalist. The only one who's not a minimalist is my daughter, whose husband's in the Air Force, which is kind of sad for him because they're getting shipped out to Okinawa, and she's bought so many toys for her son. I don't know how they're going to get them there.
And would they have boats now and stuff or ships?
Yeah,
or?
I'm thinking it's the Air Force. You think the Air Force is going to let you put stuff on a boat?
I think so.
Come
They sent
on.
my dad to Japan in a boat in 1946. Didn't fly him there. Sorry about that.
Different world. No C-5As then.
They had planes then too. But okay, all right. I'll let you have that one.
Did they have a single? Wait. Was there a plane? Now, you're the plane, the World War II plane
Yes?
aficionado.
What about it?
Was there a plane that could get from Los Angeles to Tokyo nonstop?
I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I don't think there was.
You had to go. I think you had to go to Hawaii, then the Philippines, and then there.
Yeah. Which
They
is,
didn't have.
why
They did not have midair refueling either. So
we went to all the trouble to capture those nasty islands to put planes on them to fly closer to Japan.
yeah. Well, anyway, so the
Which
bottom.
is,
the
Okinawa
bottom
is
line-
one of those islands. That's where my family's going.
Wow, I did not know that. But I mean, what I was trying to get to is one of the kindest things I think my mother did is, as she advanced in years, she gave stuff away. If people didn't want it, she gave it to charity. So when she passed away, she had a very few. I can remember going over with my son and cleaning out her apartment. My son saying, "That's it," and I said, "That's a nice gift. That's a nice thing to leave people." Yeah. Not
Now
to
you're
spend.
making me feel really bad, and So Tom is
That
going to
is
take
always
over the
my
rest
job.
of the show, and I'm going to go start clearing junk.
Sorry about that.
Right? I think I'll start with the studio. 855-935-TALK is the phone number, 855-935-8255. Give us a call. You get a copy of Financial Physics, the book that I wrote, for free, and you'll get an answer to your questions.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
It may not be the sexiest website in the world, but it's your one-stop shop for real money information, talkingrealmoney.com.
Reality radio for a really great future. We're talking real money.
You know, it's too bad we don't have a live stream from the studio during the breaks so that people can hear you every single break argue about soccer.
I'm under siege here because
Soccer.
it's the world sport, the beautiful game, the most watched and played game in the
Oh, you're talking about hockey?
I'm not going to defend it anymore. You don't like it, then that's fine. Don't like it, that's fine. I got no issue with that. That's fine. That's fine. I'm going to be sitting down tomorrow at 0700 a.m.
Yeah.
0700
Watching.
hours. And the
Seven-
Prem.
wait, 7 in the
Prem.
morning?
Prem, baby. Yeah, it's decision day in the Prem. I'll be watching that with my son.
The Prem.
The rest of you can
Is that
get
like
up
a
and do whatever.
pram? Is that like
Exactly.
people pushing
Yes,
children in a
exactly.
stroller?
Prem. If you don't know it, that's fine. That's just okay. That's
He's
fine.
getting really
You
sensitive.
can watch that. Well, you watched that idiotic football league that lasted like 30 seconds. Whatever.
I did. I watched.
What,
Actually, I watched
8
two
Americans
games.
or something?
I watched 2 games, and I did what the rest of America did. Stopped watching.
Apparently so. Good Lord.
855-935-TALK. We'd love to talk with you about money, not soccer.
No.
Here on Talking Real Soccer. Money. Talking Real Money.
Thank
Sorry.
you.
Oh, I got it confused for a minute. Dale, you're up. Welcome to Talking Real Money.
Hey, Dale.
Hey, hi. Nice talking to you guys.
Thank you.
Hey, I have a small business, and we have a 401k, and I thought I'd just give a clarification on their previous caller, thinking that the automatic tax withdrawal is, when you take a withdrawal, is 20%. When you do take a withdrawal, we're required to take out 20% for the IRS at the time of the withdrawal.
That may be your plan that says that, by the way. Not every
Yep,
plan does that. Yeah.
Well, that could be,
Yeah.
but that's the way our plan is.
Yeah.
And then, of course, at the end of the year, when you do your taxes, you've more than likely paid too much.
Yeah, you're talking about withholding. In other words, because that is basically income when you take it out of a retirement plan. What he was mentioning is the withholding plus before 59 and a half, you got a 10% penalty. That I have no argument with that. What we're trying to talk about is in regular type of conditions, you've retired, the money's in an IRA, for example, there is no minimum tax you have to pay on that.
And I think what we have is a situation where people are confusing and are blending these two issues because some employers withhold 20%. That does not mean that your net is 20%. That's what we were trying to get to, is that you don't pay the IRS 20%.
Yeah.
You get it. You may get it taken out, but you get some of it back. So
There you go.
you pay at your tax rate.
Yeah, I understand that, and I just thought I'd clear it up. It sounded like he thought that no matter what, he was going to get taxed 20%. So, anyway, nice program.
Thank
nice
you.
talking to you
Thank
guys.
you,
That's
sir,
very
very
kind.
much.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
That's
no,
very
there is, unless
minimum.
you have a reason, your plan has a reason, you, as an individual, do not necessarily have a 20% mandatory withdrawal on distributions. You don't.
20% tax on withdrawals.
Yeah, right. Or even a withdrawal on them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, a withholding.
Withholding.
I should say.
Yeah, you don't have to withhold 20.
No. Some plans do, though.
Yeah, no. and I get it. So,
And some people have to. Some people are subject to mandatory withholding. There are some
Correct.
taxpayers,
Yeah.
for various reasons, who are subject to mandatory withholding.
yeah,
You apparently did something bad.
at least the government believes so.
Right.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about our favorite guy about value investing? I mean, value investing's under fire here.
Yeah. You know,
you had it on the
Jason,
podcast this week, I think.
Jason of the Zweig.
Yeah.
And I've talked about it for a while because and Jason of all people should understand this thing called recency bias. We tend to extrapolate what is happening now out into the future and assume that is going to keep happening. Well, lately, because we've been in a particular kind of a stock market, growth stocks have outperformed value stocks.
Okay, and
value
how do you
stocks are
define
undervalued assets.
In what regard? Who's making
where
that
they're-
judgment?
Wall Street, based on valuations of the company's book value
Which
against
is?
the market value. It's the value of all the assets, what
Okay,
the company
all right.
owns, less its debt, and that the company on paper
Yeah.
is worth more than the market capitalization
Right.
of the stock.
Market
That's a value
capitalization
stock.
being the number of shares outstanding times
Times.
the share price.
Correct.
That's a number. By the way, that is just one measure of value and growth. There's probably thousands of other ones. I mean, there's a lot of measures. This is
that's-
more of a scientific, academic-based one. So
Yeah. So what there's this little argument going on between is value better than growth? Well, there's some quite a bit of academic evidence that shows historically value stocks have outperformed growth stocks. However, we'll get to the however after this.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
Tom and I believe in helping everybody become a better investor. That's why we offer lots of free knowledge at talkingrealmoney.com.
For your real life and real future, Tom and Don are talking real money.
Give us a call anytime at 855-935-TALK, 855-935-8255. You can call us live on Saturdays, noon to 2 Pacific, 3 to 5 Eastern, and call any other time and leave a question to be answered on the daily podcast. 855-935-TALK. We're talking about the argument, and this is an ongoing argument on Wall Street. Which
Nothing
is
new.
better,
Yeah, right.
growth stocks or value stocks?
Well, I can tell you the last 5 years have been all about growth stocks. I mean, it's
It's been all about growth for more than that.
Yeah, 10 years, really. I mean, in fact, you look at the performance of Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway, which is considered
very value-oriented.
value-oriented. The Berkshire Hathaway the last decade rose 259%. The S&P 500, just the index, 314%. So Warren either got really dumb, which is unlikely, or the style of investing hasn't worked as well.
Right. And here's the thing. There's been a lot of research done on this. Some of the most famous research was done by Fama and French in value versus growth investing. And they found that value, here's the key word, tends to outperform growth over long periods of time. For example, over a 5-year period, value beat growth 86% of the time, but
5 years,
wait,
5 years, 5 years, 5 years, right?
any rolling 5-year
Yeah,
period.
okay.
Now, but what's the inverse of that? 14% of the time, growth beat value.
Yeah.
Over 10 years,
10-year periods.
10-year periods, 9% of the time, growth beat value. 15-year periods, 5% of the time, growth beat value over that entire 15-year period.
And 20 years, it's even more significant.
Well, 20 years, there's none.
Yeah.
Value won
20-year
every
period,
time.
yeah.
But that doesn't mean there won't be a future 20-year period where 1% of the time growth beat value.
And here's I think the misunderstanding, and you pointed this out very well in the podcast. People believe that you own one or the other, or you're a value investor or you're a growth investor. No. You own both. But I think people also think that we are more value investors. And here's the reason why. Most of you, by default, no fault of your own, you own mostly large growth companies. Because that's the S&P 500,
They
basically.
float, because they float to the top of the
Correct.
S&P
And
500.
If you own an index, the S&P 500, you own most of the money's in the bigger companies. So you don't own the small ones, you own the value. So the reason that we try to work hard to get you to own the value firms, which makes it sound like we're promoting them, which we're not, is that you don't have them. You should have both in your portfolio. Right. That's the point.
It is not an either or.
No, I agree.
Oh.
You did a nice job saying
But part of the reason that people think it's an either or is Wall Street. Because they're always saying, well, we believe that it's going to be a growth market over the next year. So you should be focused on growth stocks, or you should be focused on X, whatever it is. It's always somebody saying you should be in the market or you should be out. You should never be out. True. Ever.
It's because it's sexier to pick one side or the other. It's more interesting.
Plus,
sells.
Our brains have this issue. Most of us have a hard time with gray scales. We really do. In life, something is either wrong
that's true.
or it's right.
Yeah.
Someone is either good or they're bad. There aren't shades of good and shades of bad. No, that is a bad person. They did something bad, so they're a bad person. That's a generally good person who did something stupid. It's
I know
shades
a lot
of
of
gray.
those people.
Most of us have real issues with shades of gray. You're a sinner or you're not a sinner.
Saint.
Or you're a saint.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember what the opposite of sinner was.
There you go. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I figured you might not remember that one.
I forgot. Because I've never been one, and it's so far
not
from
on the short list for that one myself either. But the point of the matter is we are not promoting owning more small or more value.
We are.
The reason that
overweighting those.
Well, slightly. But the reason we do that is because most of you don't own any. We look at all these portfolios every week. People
May I beg to differ?
Please.
We do it not just
I
for
am
that.
the saint, and you are the. What was the other one again?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
The sinner.
Yeah,
that's me.
It. Okay.
The reason we do it though is because of the evidence that shows that having a little bit more money in small and having a little more money in value has. No
Past
guarantee
tense.
it will continue to do so, but has in the past resulted in more money in your pocket.
And
Paul Merriman is famous for saying, buy some bonds and small cap value.
Yeah. And by the way, let me add one thing to that. If you were waking up today and building a portfolio, would you rather build a portfolio on the things that have gone up more the last 10 years or the things that have gone up not as much the last 10 years?
Let's say 20, because 10 years it's growth.
Well, so I'm trying to make the point.
Oh, okay.
I'd rather buy the things that haven't done as well over the last 10 years personally.
But you see, most people want to buy the things that have done well.
That's the point I'm trying to make is you really ought to buy, those are the things. Oh, that's right, the things that have not performed as well. Give me more of those. That's the way I look at it. So,
right. Give me more of those international stocks, for example.
The crummy
give me
international
more
stocks,
give
cap,
me more
value,
of the small. Give me more of the value. Because we tend to forget, and the best example, and we can never forget this example as investors. Everybody talks about the S&P 500. Own the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is the market. It is not the market. As a matter of fact, what happened to you in between 2000 and 2010 if you owned just the S&P 500? Over 10 years, how much money did you make?
I think it's less than 10% for the whole period. Right?
Less than zero.
Oh, that's right. It was the lost
You actually
decade.
lost about 1% per year over that 10-year period. However, had you thrown a little international in, you made about 6 or 7% per year.
And small in value did better too.
And small in value.
Exactly.
So you would have made money in a decade where S&P 500 people didn't. So you may have a decade where the internationals don't do well. Quit picking your portfolio apart and looking at its particular pieces.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting any. I'm not getting any popping on my mic to speak of.
No plosives.
Plosives. See, another word I forgot.
I'm here to help. I'm here to step in, make it happen.
I need to take a nap.
You need
or
a
something.
balanced. I think Jack Bogle said something about that, about a balanced portfolio.
Yeah, but to him, a balanced portfolio was owning the S&P 500.
Yeah, you could take it, diversify broadly. His own article said those words. So you can take that to mean more. Yeah, we used to knit with him about how much U.S. international.
Because he didn't want anything in international.
I'm not going to stand on that. He slowly warmed to that. So,
like I slowly warmed to indexes over active management.
Yeah.
I used to, I admit it.
You had a newsletter.
I promoted active management because at the time it was pretty much all there was.
What you did.
I mean, there were a couple of index funds. And
you used to pick individual stocks, didn't you, too, in your newsletter?
I did because I thought I was smarter than everybody else.
Well, you may well be, but that
may not apply. And I thought smart people could predict the future.
Mm-hmm.
Then I realized that it doesn't matter how smart you are. I don't care if you're at the 0.1% of intelligence. You cannot, unless you're an X-Man or something, predict the future. Unless you got zapped by some magical ray that turns you into a mutant. No matter how smart you are, you don't know what the future is going to bring. You may make guesses that sound smart, and you may occasionally get lucky and get stuff right. But
that's it. Yeah,
that's it.
Thank you. Index funds. Diversify, low cost. Stuff kind of works.
It's pretty simple. It really is pretty simple. Remember, you can call us at 855-935-TALK 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and leave questions for the podcast.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
Download the advisor interview form and find out if your advisor's a fiduciary at TalkingRealMoney.com.
Your guides to a really great financial future. Tom and Don are talking real money.
And all of this stuff we talked about, this value versus growth and small versus large and U.S. versus international and generating income from your investment portfolio and which money to take out first and which to wait on, all of that we've crammed into one-hour class that you can get with a lunch. So you're not even wasting time. You're having lunch while you're learning. So it's called Lunch Ed, and we've got another one coming up because we've sold all the others out on May 22nd in Bellevue. Tickets are available, but not very many. It's selling out quickly, so go get them now at TalkingRealMoney.com, TalkingRealMoney.com.
We hope you realize that the information provided on Talking Real Money is for educational and hopefully enjoyable purposes only. Providing personalized financial planning or investing advice takes time, so please consult with a really good fee-only fiduciary investment, tax, or legal advisor. We know a good one. Investing must always involve risk. In other words, you can and probably will lose money at times. Also, as much as you want it, no one can accurately, consistently predict the future. So past performance doesn't tell you a darn thing about what the future will bring. Unlike many other programs that say something similar, Talking Real Money is not trying to get you to buy or sell any financial products or securities. Instead, the program is provided as a public service by Vestry, a fee-only registered investment advisor. Thanks for listening, and please visit TalkingRealMoney.com for more information and disclosures. Are we done now?